Hi, everyone. Welcome to Quantum Frequencies. I am very excited today because I have Lori and her son with us today, and they are going to be chatting with me about sound healing, sound baths, and I'm really interested in this topic in particular. I actually really wanted to. I was talking to Lori or chatting with her at one point because I am just so drawn to the crystal bowls and the sound healing. It is just something that definitely resonates with me. Um, and the wonderful thing is, it just goes so in line with everything I share about frequencies. So let me give you a little bit of a background on Lori. Her business is called Awaken Dharma. And through her family's health challenges, Lori has become passionate about the study of nutrition and its powerful impact on the body and mind. She has spent 20 years studying, researching, and implementing nutrient intervention towards healing for her entire family. She is now a consultant with various wellness clinics and local practitioners. Taking health another step further, she has become a yoga meditation instructor and she facilitates deeply relaxing sound baths with her son, who is a sound healer. This introduces another layer of healing, emotional, and energy work, working with healing frequencies. Her specialties are hidden food intolerance, digestive issues, food and chemical sensitivities, and she is a media speaker, a sound healer, and an alchemist. So I am so happy you both were able to be with us today and sharing this because it is something that we're seeing more and more of, but yet not enough of. So I'm going to let you guys take over. I'm going to actually mute myself so I don't interrupt or anything. And I want you to share um, anything that you're willing to share with us about sound healing.
Oh, of course. And yeah, let's share our adventures, right?
Mhm.
We often get asked when they find out that we're mother and son doing this together. We often get asked, how did you even start to do this? And our answer is always the same thing. You let go of the steering wheel of control of your life and you just surrender to what comes in. So we'll do a little background. We'll do like an explanation of the instruments, and then we'll get into the frequency and the resonance and what to expect in the sound bath, and then maybe a little demo and show you some of the instruments that we have. And then, of course, bring you back in and tie this all with, of course, Healy, which we've had for a year now. And we've been exploring that. I find it really works for those that are very sensitive. For him, he can really feel it and it gets rid of like aches, pains, headaches, helps with colds. Like, oh yeah, we've explored it to the fullest. So, letting go the steering wheel of life. Let's see. We went to our first sound bath, I guess, in the city 8 years ago. A friend of mine brought us, and she was a yoga instructor at the time, and I had no idea what to expect. And she's like, "Oh, bring your son," and she brought her child. No idea what to expect, and whoa, what a surprise! Remember that? Um, yeah, he no longer lives in the city anymore, but he had all kinds of bowls and gongs and chimes and instruments I've never seen before. And it was an hour-long session of just sound and guided meditation. And surprise, surprise, this guy took to it like I never would have expected. I was completely surprised and like, burst wide open, like, what is this? What is happening? And then he was so patient. His name was Mark. He took the time with Leo at the end. Leo wanted to explore the instruments. He really like took to them, I would say, like physically and then energetically. Um, and then from there, we just kept going to many different sound baths in the city because the big win with that is it helped him regulate to calm. That external factor that was needed, that missing piece to help him regulate and get calm. So many of the children that we see now need help with that. They need a bedtime routine. They need tools. The parents need to find these tools to help the children be able to calm down, unwind from the day, bring the body and the mind into relaxation for sleep. Right? So needed. Anyway, that was a magic piece for us. So we spent years going to every single one in the city. We got to know many sound bath healers, beautiful, beautiful people. We learned so much, right? So
Yeah.
many names over time and faces. And then when the shutdowns hit, they all just stopped. And like every other family that I know and is out there, what am I going to do now? So a friend of ours, a good friend of ours, Rebecca White Raven.
Yeah.
Love her. She's a ray of sunshine. She started teaching them in her living room. She just said, I'm just going to have like 3 people. I'm just going to, do very small and I'm just going to start teaching them. Well, we signed Leo up for his first class. Same thing. He took to it. He was a natural. She taught him how to energetically channel. It's energy work. It's frequency and energy work that we didn't understand. And I've done a deep dive reading so many books now on frequency and sound and its impact on the physical body. So yeah, he took to it, and then when he graduated, we just like immediately started, and then the phone calls came and the emails came, and then now we do them in nature, we do them for retreats, we do them for yoga studios, in private homes, in basements. We've done a TP, and we've done City of Om. Oh my gosh. So there is nothing like doing a sound bath to a couple hundred people way outside this dude's comfort zone. But the fact that I can see him do this to that many people is, I don't know, we've reached another milestone, and it's just, yeah, I break down every time. Right, guy?
Yeah.
But yeah, just again, somewhere along the way, as we learn and as we grow, like his first bowl was gifted to him. And then we ended up getting a set from someone who had retired playing them, someone local. Every step of the way, you realize that it's not you. It's there's something else. There's a higher force guiding you and driving you on this beautiful path. And then when you just surrender into that, the people that come into your life, constantly grateful and enjoy that we can do this and share this with community. What do you want to say to that? What do you want to say about sound baths? What would you want people to know?
They help people relax, calm down, and let go of the day, for example. Like all the stress, all that matters, to let everything go to the universe, to the world.
And we talk many times, because again, he's the main event, the bowls are his, he's the healer, and I just do gongs and chimes on the side. Yeah. And we always, well, we'll get into that. So in a sound bath, what to expect? So the sessions can be anywhere from half hour to an hour or longer, and we custom make it depending on what the vision for the host is, right? But I find that it usually takes a good 15-20 minutes for people to completely unwind, relax, and then get into that zone. And after that, that's when the magic happens. They'll either fall asleep, they'll either, go off into a dreamlike state, they'll either find some way that they're just like out of time and space. The feedback that we've gotten from the people is phenomenal, and it has taught us over time what they've experienced and what they share. A lot of times they talk about, feeling hot, cold, seeing things, seeing people, having loved one visit that had passed on, seeing colors, or just dreaming, or even just going into this zone and they don't know where they were. They weren't awake and they weren't quite asleep. They're like, where did I go? I I think that's called the theta state, I believe. And that's what meditation tries to bring you into, that I call it the little nappy zone, where you can still hear the sounds of, the world coming in, but you're in this completely relaxed zone that you can visions, you can have ideas flow to you, you can have a deep state of relaxation. And I've read so much, like your heart rate slows down, your nervous system completely calms. Like that's the sweet spot. So when you get to that spot and you rest there for however long the sound bath is, and then we bring you out slowly at the end, it is like a reawakening. And then the people understand, they see their baseline change, right? I was really deeply relaxed, and that was not sleep. So then they get all curious, right? And then their body responds to certain sounds. And again, like the planting the seeds to just continue and explore the impact that this has, right? On all levels of the body, right? It could be physical, it could move traumas, pains, it could be emotional, it could move emotions, maybe old memories come through. And basically, that's what it is. A sound bath, all these sounds and frequencies will move what is ready to be moved at that time. That's literally what it is. That's why no two are alike. You can go to them and have profound feelings, right? Sometimes you cry, sometimes you laugh, sometimes you have old memories, sometimes you have great ideas come in. So no two are alike, and that's the beauty of it. So getting into the instruments then, the bowls are made of pure crystal quartz. And then there's also beautiful Tibetan bowls, bronze, brass, copper. And reading about these, I think they date back before Christ even. They go way, like, I don't even think that there's a documented trail of how old they are, because we know that the bowls have been used, in Egypt, in Nepal, in Tibet for millennia. And each instrument has its own frequency. The crystal quartz bowls, you want to do some samples? Just tap them loud so they can hear. So that's a C note. So each instrument has a note, and you can map that note to somewhere into the body. So many times people will get the bowls associated with the chakras. Right? That's the first step. I'll try some other bowls. So that's a sample of the sound. Same thing goes for the bronze and the brass bowls for the Tibetan bowls, but in our sound baths, the crystal bowls are the main event, and Leo sings them, and he sings them intuitively. So I noticed that when we first started playing and we first started gathering, he would gravitate to playing certain bowls over others. And he explained it to me afterwards. Again, it's energy work, right? So he feels the energy of the people, and then he channels the energy back down and gives it out to them. So it's like this beautiful infinite figure eight. And yeah, sometimes certain bowls don't play, like they just won't sing. And sometimes they're extremely loud, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, so we're still learning and understanding from the feedback of people what that means. But getting into some of the other instruments that we have, we'll play drums. We'll play chimes. We have various shakers, we have gongs, we have tongue drums, and one of the most beautiful ones that people really enjoy is, you want to do it? The rain stick. many of the instruments basically are just that. They're instruments to capture and imitate the sounds of nature. And I find that those are the ones that people really resonate with. The drum, especially, because it brings out some kind of primal feeling that we don't yet fully understand. The rain stick, the wave drum sounds like waves of the ocean.
Mhm.
The shaker sounds like, grass and rocks falling. Like it's fascinating what you can do. So that's the energy work. There's no two sound baths that are alike. Each one is different. It will move what needs to be moved. And then understanding the instruments and the frequencies that they put out is basically to put harmony back into the body, back
Yeah.
into the cells, back into the organs, back even with your emotions, back with your energies or your chakras. That's what it does. So it moves what needs to be moved on the moment. So all you need to do for work is just lie there and be fully open. What comes up for you? You know, so many times we hear people say, they have trouble with meditation because they can't keep their mind still. But when I do my guided, I always say, like, constantly come back to the sounds. Just be open and observe. You recognize when your thoughts start to go off. Oh, what do I need to do for groceries tomorrow? Come back to the sounds and then ask yourself, how does this sound make me feel? Where do I feel this sound in my body? And I get told time and time again that it works. That worked for me. The sounds keep me present. I can know when my mind wanders off and I come back. Oh, they're playing a different sound now. Oh, there's drums happening. And how am I feeling about that? And then just notice what's happening. It's so neat because, like, it's our third year now, and there's people who have been with us the whole time, and they really have changed. Right? How the sound baths have made them feel. They're more present, they're more calm, they're more observant. And they moved from, the physical feelings into the body, from the memories, and then off to new ideas. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, I got this great idea, when the sound bath was playing. So I think that was everything. We went into what to expect, the instruments, the frequencies, the energy work that you magically do. Do you want us to do like a little sample, because singing the
Absolutely. Yes, yeah, let's hear them and see how, I mean, obviously being present in the room is another level. However, with beauty of technology, we can somewhat when we tested the bowls beforehand, I definitely felt it. And I got goosebumps. So it's obviously transmitting something to me, and we'll talk more about that after we hear some more of that, just maybe a brief, even 5 minutes or whatever you guys feel guided to show here, and then we can get more into some of the science kind of behind it, maybe, which is more my thing. I'm very spiritual, yet I love the science behind it, which shows why it's happening to us. So, and we could talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, show us or let us hear.
Beautiful. That's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, so when we do it, our bowls are the main attraction, and everything else is just kind of complimentary. So I'm going to let you do your thing. So we're going to play them, I would say, loud. Play them loud so they can, and they can monitor the volume on their end, and I'll just do what I usually do.
Wow, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for that because even like as much as my mind was wandering because I'm going, I can't even believe how this would feel for an hour. Oh my gosh. That's what my mind was doing. It's like, wow. It would be so beautiful to be in that space. It did like take me away even in that brief moment. It's almost like, I guess it was funny. I felt like I was, um, in some movie. It's not quite the right word, but in my mind I felt like I was transported to another location altogether, which was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And that's actually kind of a fun fact, um, with uh, energy and frequencies is that locations actually retain energy frequencies. So, all of these sacred sites around the world that, have the big gongs and all this kind of stuff, thousands and thousands of years they've been doing it. Imagine the power of those frequencies that are in those locations. But even then, like when, as you to go to different locations, repeatedly for different events, the memory of that energy frequency is there, and so it's easier to get into that state of being and just allowing when you're in those kind of locations that often do sound baths. And so you're able to pick that up at a faster pace. But then also in your own home, it really leads to the argument of having that sacred spot, even within your own home, that you always are going to meditate or just, mindfulness. I find sound baths, for me, one of the things that as you were speaking about it, it's just a wonderful mindfulness practice, you know, amplified with the sound frequencies that help you to stay on track for that mindfulness, but being in that present moment. So beautiful, beautiful. Remembering, that was the other thing. It was the key thing is I feel that sound baths, and even as you were saying, the drum and even like the little tinkling, it felt like a remembering. So that's just kind of some of my observations there in that brief moment, but also just in general. Which going more on the science side of things, um, you know, as humans, not just humans, any kind of animals as well, etc. But we're basically water. We're this column of water with all of these, trillions of antenna systems, which are our DNA. And those frequencies are then receiving that signal. And it's this, as you were saying, that beautiful, you know, return. It's that cycle, it's that circle, capturing the waves of frequencies that are, that universal wave of energy that's coming in and going out and being returned. Sorry, my sounds must be on my phone there. But yeah, I just loved it. And do you have any insights as to the how how the sound frequencies do affect the body, or in any other way, like going, from that analogy in a sense?
Um, each individual person is so unique.
Mm,
Like you can have 10 people at the same sound bath and they each have a completely different experience. Because, like we were saying earlier, it will move what needs to be moved in that moment.
yes.
And again, they can go to a sound bath again tomorrow
Hmm.
and it will be completely different.
Yes.
So, from what I read, it really depends. Like, because again, we're all snowflakes.
Hmm.
So, our everything that's going on right now on all levels of the body. So what are you just observing? It could be physical. We've had people say, it moves pain,
Hmm.
like an old knee injury suddenly flare and then go calm.
Hmm.
Emotions. We've had people leave because they've just started sobbing uncontrollably because something came in that they had buried and they weren't dealing with.
Hmm.
We've had complete euphoria.
Yes.
I'll never
Yeah.
forget his feedback. He was just like, what did you trigger in my brain? He just went into the state of, and he said he physically wanted to get up and like start doing cartwheels and all over, but he was like, he didn't move the whole time. Like, it was euphoria for him. So many different feedbacks. We've had another person, again, fascinating. So, from what you were saying, sounds never disappear. They
Right.
never go away. Once
Mhm.
they're put out, they just stay. So we
Hmm.
had one woman, we did a personal sound bath for her, and she kept her eyes open the whole time because she literally saw the sounds as color. And
Beautiful.
she cried the whole time, and she said, I can't even describe what I'm seeing. It's so incredible. And she said the sounds never go away. So the room just became this huge, I can't even imagine what she was visualizing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huge, like, of color and she was just beside her, like she had never experienced anything like that. So
Wow.
understanding and reading that sounds never dissipate, they never go away once they're put out there, and having someone validate that
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
so humbling, right? So
Yeah.
humbling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And actually here, let me see if I can I'm going to share my screen for a second here if I
Yeah.
can. Let me just make sure because it's a beautiful chart here that I have that shows that hopefully you're seeing this.
Mm.
So all the different based on the chakras and all the different frequencies and the color ranges. And so you see that there's this whole the electromagnetic spectrum of visible light, the vibration frequency, and then the sound frequencies. So everything, as you're playing the different notes, the colors I can imagine would be, expanding from that. And you are, tuning in to the different chakras. You're tuning in to, different emotional, physical frequencies. When we talk about the uh, range of frequency, so anything that's a low frequency, as we know, can become express itself as illness. And as we raise higher, that's when we are then going into health and emotions such as joy, gratitude, love, etc. So when we're having this range, as the sound bath is giving us these higher frequencies, there's that entrainment and resonance that we want to connect to that same frequency, and our cells want to vibrate just like, there's that tuning fork picture here. You hit a tuning fork in a presence of a symphony, and the strings will vibrate to match that frequency. So we are the same thing. Our cells want to, you know entrain and want to come up to that. And the wonderful thing is, um, the higher the frequency is much more powerful than the lower frequencies. So if you're attracting, if you're not feeling well and there's a higher frequency sound, for example, um, around you, you're going to want to raise up to that level, which is just beautiful. But um, I'll stop sharing that for a second there. But because it was just when you mentioned the colors, I was like, oh yeah, I have this beautiful, which shows, and as we do match the colors to our chakras, etc. So there's that connection as well, which is just wonderful. And I do 100% agree that whole when you said everybody is unique, we are. It's as these antenna that we have out there, our DNA, our unique DNA, and but also just our unique life experiences and all the different impacts we have had that have shaped our own unique frequency, and what we are looking to have balanced will then come out with the different sounds, which is why I'm just so drawn to this particular type of healing, because I'm, as a energy healer, which I am myself, I can always, I can feel the different frequencies for people. However, it's harder to explain that when you have a sound that everyone can hear and they feel the connection to that sound. I think it's just a wonderful way for people to truly get that, like find that connection, like, oh, that is what I resonate with. That sound is what I am, resonating with. Whereas for energy healing, they may feel things, but they don't really understand why. It's just this individual, but everything is energy as well, as we you know, uh, can clearly say. Um, and it really tends to be more, we talk about chords and harmonics and harmony, which are all very sound based terms, really. But it is something that has to do with frequency, no matter what way you're talking about it. So going into Healy now, seeing the similarities with Healy, we are always talking about frequencies as well. For example, right now I am running a program on myself while I do this, because it's always just the one I'm running is called mental, which is just to give that mental balance and clarity and focus when I'm, doing something like this, for example, so that I want to be very present. And the different frequencies that, um, it's not just one frequency, it's adjusting constantly based on my frequency and my needs and my, what am I emitting out there. So it can go from lower ranges because it needs to calm me down, perhaps. If I'm too, you don't want to be too out there. And then it's now just jumped up again to 192 hertz, and I'm just watching it as it's waving through. So it's a beautiful system that, allows us to balance and harmonize at the same time. And which is probably why, you know, those who are sensitive to energy can feel it more. And you know, that's why the sound healing is wonderful. Even if you aren't sensitive to it, you can hear it. Um, Yet it's working no matter if you're feeling it or not, and sensitive or not, because it is in that whole information field that we have around us. Energy is information. Sound is information. It's beautiful information, but that's what it is, right? And both of them tend to, I always see Healy as kind of an intention magnifying tool. So it brings to us our intentions for our energy. And I think sound healing is a wonderful thing as well. As you were saying, it's like all of a sudden, that knee, which needs attention, you know, gets to be then all of a sudden, oh, okay, it inflames. And often, the healing crises that occur through any kind of healing, it gets worse for a second and people go, oh no. It's like, yes, but you needed to, yes,
Move,
needs to move. It was stagnant. It was just there. It was always present. You don't want that. You want it to move on, but you need to see it there and then say, okay, thank you. I see you now. It's time to move on. Right? It's
Right,
a beautiful
right,
thing. And
right.
so both of these wonderful tools help us to live a life of intention, right? It is that. And um, so, speaking then on the science side of the Healy, they have quantum sensors in them, which, can read and analyze and listen to the information that's in our biofield. And it's the tool that helps us to comprehend, because we may not be sensitive to what's going on. And that's the wonderful thing. And for my own son, I know, Lori, you've heard me talk about this, is the fact that my son is nonverbal. He isn't able to communicate with me and tell me what those things are. And even if you're not nonverbal, you may not know what is it? What is it? We're not sensitive to what, we've lost that, connection. We've forgotten how to be more in tune with what our body, mind, and spirit is asking for us to do, and it's what it's calling for. So Healy is a wonderful tool that it can help us to see, what are we needing, what is our body, mind, and soul asking for. um there's actually, so there, um do you work with the tuning forks at all? Like there's the solfeggio tuning forks.
We have seen them done, and that's something that maybe in future we will move into.
yeah.
Yeah, we have two other instruments that Leo is still learning: the hand pan
Yeah.
and the native flute.
Oh,
We're
beautiful.
yeah, we're constantly evolving, and that's the beauty of it, is that after doing this for 2 years and then discovering Healy, right? All of
Yeah.
a sudden, a bunch of the sound healers all of a sudden posted this, and I was like, what? Instantly grabbed, because again, the
Yes.
science, the technology
Yes.
exists. When you see something and you fully know, your body responds. You're like, wait, what's
Hmm.
that? And to find out that Healy does pain and sleep and hormones and like, so like the list, I was just like, okay, I have
I know. Well, that was the same with me. It was like being, in tune with my energy and, working as an energy healer for many years. It was like, as soon as, my friend mentioned it, it was just kind of like, okay, I know what you're talking about, but yes, I'll buy it. It was just kind of like, I seriously had no idea. And I got it. And then I'm like, okay, can you tell me what I'm doing now? but but it's like, I know I need this, but I didn't, know I needed it. It was just, thankfully she knew my son as well. And she was just kind of like, she knew that with that communication piece, it's just so valuable, because as much as, yes, energy healing, I don't need to know. At the same time, I want to know and then I can focus more with intention, right? Without having that knowing piece, the intention, yes, the overall intention can be more general, but having that more specific intention is even more powerful. And, that's what I find Healy for me with him in particular, but also, and I was going to share, and I still haven't shared my epiphany that I had, but I'll share a brief part here, is that, I bought Healy for my son.
same.
Yes. And then I went, oh my gosh, I need this. And I
Same.
didn't want to admit it, but I'm the one using it all the time. Like, for me, it's like, I'm the one who really needs this. He uses it, you know, because he is so sensitive too. I find that a little bit goes a long way with him. Whereas with me, I'm using it daily for myself, and I need it daily. And it's part of the caregiver aspect of things as well. There's more of that need there, but it was almost like this guilty, oh my gosh, I'm actually using it for me, you know? And I thought I had already gotten rid of that, mom guilt stuff. I thought I had already dealt with that. And that actually was a fabulous awareness that came to me, is that, despite knowing that, yes, I need to take care of myself, and that is important because I can't be there to take care of others, there was still a part of me that actually felt guilty taking care of me. And so when it came up, it was like, wow, this is for me, and I'm happy it's for me. And it's, because especially with, I find with our sensitive children, they pick up on us, and their well-being is actually based a lot on us.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Right?
when I am happy, healthy, and you know vibrating at that high resonance, they're good.
Oh, completely. When we
Yeah.
move through that, like the conscious parent, right? And you
Hmm.
understand that filling your cup and helping yourself literally also helps them. It's,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
hitting my antenna. And it's so funny too, because throughout the last 3 years, when we were going through that roller coaster,
Hmm.
he was so in tune to me. Like I would be scrolling and looking something and like feeling so angry or full of despair. And he would literally come find me in the house and just give me a hug. Nothing.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
he's like in tune. So what you said,
Yes.
100%.
Yes. Yes. And that's the thing. And so I would find, Johan coming to me and, needing to give me hugs, but not for him. But it's like, you need this, mom. You need some of my energy. Come on, pick it up. And it's like, oh, okay. So obviously and so now, before it gets to that point, I deal, you know, with myself, um, which is frequency wise. And I guess I never thought, even though, which is, strange that I never made that connection, but it was like frequency wise, what I am, yet I knew it, but I didn't know it. And so anyway, it was a wonderful epiphany. And so I've been gladly using this now much more intention and happiness, that yes, what I do for me now is impacting my entire family, not just Johan, but I have my 10-year-old, I have my husband, and the more balanced and in harmony I am, the more they are as well, because it's that whole pulling up as well, which was a wonderful thing. And so, talking about the solfeggio, I'm going to also just share my screen again one more time here, because what was I going to do? I wanted to just show you, because while I was actually doing research for this talk with you, I did not realize, but within the Healy program, certain ones, they actually have used the solfeggio frequencies. So even though you don't um, hear them, you are actually receiving specifically those ones. And here you can see it in the mind program. It says the mind program is developed on the basis of the traditional solfeggio frequencies, which are intended to harmonize the mind and communicate with the cosmic spirit. So within the well-being programs, that was the specific intention of the frequencies, which I was like, wow, even more like, how connected these to our sound healing and Healy. And then within the bioenergetic vitalization, they have a whole explanation here even about the solfeggio frequencies: 396, 417, 528, 639, 741, and 852. And you see a nice picture of Tesla here because he was all into the 369. They can all be reduced to those cross sums, and he was very obsessed with the whole 369 numbers and code numbers. So they are within the whole bioenergetic vitalization programs as well, specifically. And then going into the mag Healy, which is more for the room. And this is the thing that I'm going to be experimenting with in the future, because my mag Healy is going to be arriving soon. I'm so excited. Because I'd love to, as I was, talking to you, Lori, about getting some crystal bowls myself, I would love to combine sound baths and then have the mag Healy, because it's not just an individual frequency device, it's for the whole entire room. So to have that going, and there's some wonderful science about the dual frequencies when you can use the one frequency through, for example, Healy, and then combine it with other frequencies, what it does to the body. It's like this whole, I can't remember the term now because I'm going to still research it more, but how that dual sound or frequency impacts the body in a much more powerful way as well. So that's just some interesting kind of uh, connecting again these therapies and how they work so wonderfully. And imagine the people that come to your sound baths can then go home and then continue with, because I very much believe that it's not one or the other. It's a thing of combining everything that we can, because the pure experience of hearing the bowls and seeing the colors, as that one client was doing, and that experience, or being in that physical location where that's happening all the time, already you enter into that room and it's going to change you. But then being able to continue that, and seeing how you can continue to remind your cells on a consistent basis of what it feels like to be in that state, right?
Exactly. So one of our friend, I'm glad you mentioned the mag because that's also like on my horizon. Do we go tuning forks or do I go mag? One of our, one of our sound healers, she just got the mag and she does the bowls and she's gonna add it to her sound bath. Oh
Yes.
my gosh, we got to be booked in for that next month because I gotta try. And then another sound healer I know, she has Tesla coils
Oh, wow.
and she uses them with her sound bath combined with her voice. And I just had to try it because again, it's limitless what you can do. Layers and layers and layers of frequency and
That's
channeling.
it. That's the terminology. It's like layers of frequency. Yes, that's what I was kind of looking for. I'm like, how do I express this? Because I haven't experienced it yet. But like, because what you can even do, with your Healy, your personal Healy, and then the mag Healy. So already you're putting layers
Yeah.
that way. So I'm looking forward to that. I am looking at getting, that's why I was like, Lori, how do I get a good crystal ball? I was trying to get your, because I'm so I see these online ones and I'm like, well, I just don't know if I can trust that, and
Play it. You have to play it because the body will respond to the one that's yours.
exactly. And so I'm like, I'm out here in the middle of beautiful nature. and that's it. No, that's all I got out here, which has
That'll
its
be
own
your next
frequencies, which
trip.
is why I'm so drawn to it.
There
Um,
are there are metaphysical stores everywhere, so that'll be your next trip. Scope out one, and like you know it, it will just be drawn to you, and you'll and one day you'll have it. It's the
yes, yes, no, and I have set the intention, and when it is time for me to, have that, it will come into my uh, physical reality. And I'm lucky. Actually, I'm going to be actually chatting with a local um, person who actually has the same name as me, who does sound baths. And she has a beautiful set. Isn't that funny? She's got my name, and she does it, and she has a child with special needs. It's just like so strange. But we connected without knowing any of that. So it's fabulous. And I'm going to talk to her more about maybe combining some events and doing with the Mag Healy, and just to experiment and see how that works, and work with her in that in the
Amazing,
meantime. But this
amazing.
has been wonderful, and I do really love this connection and learning more, and sharing this information. And I'm so it's so wonderful that you both came into it the way you came into it, and it's very much kind of what I feel like. I feel like when you told that story, I actually got goosebumps, because it kind of was for me that, yes, I know that when the time is right, I feel that will come into my path as well when I'm open to it. I mean, I have this beautiful property, and I already sketched out my yurt that I'm going to build to have my beautiful sound baths in. And, I have no, like, it's not here yet, but I've already seen it. And it would be a beautiful um, place on the other side of Canada for people to come and enjoy that as well, which, with the power of Healy as well, which the more people that learn about that as well, because it's something that's accessible to everyone. In my opinion, it's one of those things, like you said, it's like, okay, we just prioritize. Yes, we're going to get these. I want to get those solfeggio things too. I've got too many things on my wish list. I've Every sound tool that you mentioned, I've already researched. I'm actually a certified sound healer without any of the tools. Because I've taken all the courses. I'm there. I just need to now manifest the beautiful instruments to go along with it. So I thank you so much, and I'm going to share this, and I'll have your website linked with this, so that if anybody wants to find you, and you've got some beautiful products as well, which once I have my yurt, I am getting those beautiful cushions and things that go with it all, because it just all works together. So definitely want to make sure people can find you both, and all the wonderful offerings you have. So thank you so much for sharing with us today. I am very, very blessed to have had this opportunity to even experience it for a moment, and I want to share it with everyone. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. This has been just joy. Yeah, there's no other words for it, but
Yeah.
again, just like you said, everything in its time, and you just surrender and relax and see what flows to you, and not a minute sooner, right?
Yeah. And if anyone has any questions after watching this, if there's something we didn't cover and you're curious about, let either of us know. Just message below wherever you found the video, or we'll find a way to get the answers to you as well, because I know I wanted to say so much more too. I tend to talk a lot. That was one of my goals today, is I'm going to actually do my best to not talk as much as I normally do, and let you two shine, because it speaks volumes with just being able to hear, the actual crystal bowls, etc., and feel the energy. So I'm glad I did well, I think. Pat on the shoulder. So thank you so much, both of you. And again, if anyone has any questions, please let us know, and we'd be happy to share. So have a wonderful day. Thank you both, and I will see you guys later. Bye.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stop the recording in a second.